believe it's Atkinson now getting in on the action, and he's going to send Leach around. A little bit of contact. Leach able to hold on to that, and they all dive down into the Joker. Leach, the only person sticking on to turn number 4 and 5.
And what did I tell you? Scott Speed saw everybody else take to the Joker, and he continues to the tongue slide. One driver smashed into the wall there. That was the Subaru of Connor Martell, who's currently in the 4th position. And that Joker graphic will update, as we said, at the end of the lap. We've still got to look out here for Michael Leach and Scott Speed. They're actually, you can just see in the back a shot, they're right next to each other. Scott Speed will have to do the opposite to Michael Leach here again.
And Speed is only 11 seconds behind the race leader as things run right now, Johnny. So there is the potential, if Speed and Leach are able to get some good speed up here, to try and jump them in the Joker in a few laps' time. Leach is actually going to look down to the Joker this time around, and this is going to enable Scott Speed to have a whole lot of clean track. And Speed is going to have 6 laps, I do believe, to try and make his way to the front.
So different strategy now for Scott Speed. He's got all the clear track, like you said. A good spot there, which means he might as well stay out until he reaches some traffic. Here's the battle for the lead again. Oh, no, excuse me. This is a battle for... It's Michael Leach dropped down the order. Goodness gracious, as Tim Stevens in the Subaru finds his way past. So Christian Solberg leads from Atkinson. They've all taken the Joker. Down the end of the order, Bucky Lassik's a lap down, so he's had issues at the start, had some accidents, but he's got the car repaired and out in time. And that is one of the best rallycross shots we've got on iRacing.
And I think a bit of the time where Leach was lost out here, Johnny, is that we saw on that shot when Speed went left and Leach went right down onto the Joker. Leach was on the brakes, and you do want to slow the car a little bit as you head down into the Joker section, but Leach, I think, scrubbed a little bit too much speed, didn't try and carry the amount of momentum that he really could underneath the car and that he had. I think Leach has put himself in a bit of difficult situation now. Lap number 4. Scott Speed, by the way, putting in some of the best times on circuit, and the gap out front now down to just 5 seconds.
He went a second quicker last time around. No, excuse me, Johnny, you're looking at, so it's 10.5 seconds. 5
you're right,
seconds
yes.
the car in front. So 10.2 seconds now. Scott Speed was a second quicker than your race leader, Christian Solberg, who's competed in over 30 World Rally Championship events. We watch these two battle it out, which is going to cost them a lot of time, but it's a lovely scrap to watch as we see Connor Martell try to force his way past Michael Leach in this reverse grid feature, and he's finally going to get it done here on the jump as Michael Leach is demoted to 5th. So we talked about this. This is like round 1 at Hell-Lunkenbahn for our sim racers. The gap we're looking for is your Joker Delta. 8.4 seconds for Scott Speed. I don't think he's taking this Joker until for another couple of laps at least.
Well, the gap out front now down to just 9.2 seconds, so Speed is cutting seconds out of Solberg's gap out front. It could be just 1 or 2 more laps, and then he'll be able to take that Joker, get out in front, and I wonder if he'll do that this time around, Johnny. He'll have a few laps of clean air out in front of him. He is catching Leach fairly quickly. The gap to Leach now just 2 seconds, and I think Speed is going to want that clean air as soon as he can get it.
And then we watch your leaders come through. You've got 2 World Rally Championship drivers leading the race from a motorsport journalist and your top 3, but will a 4-time Rallycross champion show them how to get it done? The gap now, 8.7 seconds across the line. 1 more lap, Speed's got the gap, but he's also approaching some traffic. So here we watch the Subaru Motorsports USA driver. He goes for the Joker early, and that means he could potentially make contact there with second place Chris Atkinson in the Team Yokohama car. They both continue, and they're going to be alongside each other into 7. Now into the final corner. Atkinson trying to find his way back into second. He doesn't, but Speed's got some work to do to win this race. That was an important maneuver for second.
We'll take a look at the replay now of Speed as he comes down through the Joker, carrying a whole ton of momentum behind him, and slight contact made with Atkinson, who wasn't clinging all the way to the left-hand side, off into the right-hand side of the wall. Speed went, and I think unfortunately now, Johnny, it's a mammoth task for Speed to try and claw up what is a 3-second gap to Solberg in front of him.
Very surprised the car survived that. Normally, you'd see the toe link broken or something to do with the rear tires, maybe a puncture too, rim damaged. We saw Andreas Backerud win a Rallycross event, remember a couple of years back, He was on 3 wheels and still won the event. That was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in motor racing. But now, with just 2 laps to go, will Christian Solberg be our new race winner for the All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama?
Last time out, Speed took 2/10 off the gap to the number 16 in front of him. So if Solberg is able to be smooth as he comes to the white flag this time around, I think that gap's going to be insurmountable. I think for Speed, though, it will be another question here, Johnny, of what could have been. A lot of chaos in the last race really precluded him from showing his potential. He's shown his speed here today, and it's worthy of the race win, but it's looking like right now he's going to come up just a little bit short.
Shown his speed, no pun intended, I assume.
Full pun intended.
Full pun intended. As the final lap begins. Great event today. I thoroughly enjoyed this, from the flips from Mario Bonfante Jr. to the great action we've had in this feature. I'm still laughing about that, as everybody's taken a joker except Kevin Swindell. That's something to expect. We'll see where he feeds out on the last lap, but this Christian Solberg, the 42-year-old from Espoo in Finland, he's a rally coach. Christian Solberg coaching. You can visit his Facebook page, give it a like, maybe get some coaching, because he can teach you how to win an iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational event presented by Yokohama. Scott Speed just doesn't have enough at the end of the day. He will head home in second. The win goes to Christian Solberg.
And while we were all trying to keep an eye out on if Speed was going to be able to get the jump, all the while Christian Solberg, with some very steady laps, takes home the win here in the second ever All-Star Invitational. And what an event this has been.
Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Rallycross is back. All-Star time. The best of the best take to the track. All for bragging rights and jollification as we welcome you to Iowa Speedway, the fastest short track on the planet, and it's located just a half-hour's drive from Des Moines, the capital city of Iowa in the United States of America. And it hosts the third round of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama, with all coverage today on the iRacing Esports Network. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, maybe even a good night, depending on where you are located in the world. It's Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth alongside Paul Smith. Welcome back to Rallycross, Paul, after your 1 week's hiatus.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tremendous being back here and having a working voice. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the action here, the All-Star Invitational. It will give us some great thrills here at Iowa.
Yeah, and that shot you see across the front stretch, wait till these cars scream, not only in qualifying, and here's the rear shot of it, but during the race too. It's one of the best shots we have all season. We'll take a look at your track for you at Iowa. It is a 1 kilometer circuit, or 0.66 miles, depending on your units of choice. It's anti-clockwise compared to what we usually have in terms of clockwise layout. 8 corners around a venue that hosts NASCAR and IndyCar action around the 7/8 mile oval. It's a very short track here, but it's very fast, as it's nicknamed. It's got a 71% asphalt, 29% dirt split. The Joker Delta time on screen was negative 11.3 seconds. We'll talk all about that in a few moments' time. We always have so much to sprout about, but Paul, the keys to this race as well is not only the long Delta, it's the longest of the season, but the Subarus may struggle at this racetrack. The tight, twisty middle sector really suits those short wheelbase cars.
Yeah, you need a car that rotates and is able to take those corners really well, as we're on board here now. And yeah, it's one of those tricky tracks where you've got to have a good car with a pointy front end, and being able to have that change of direction, and certainly also the with the Joker as well, you've got to be careful with not making any contact to any walls. So yeah, the Yokohama on board right as Tanner Whitten decides he's had enough of qualifying there. But yeah, the Joker lap as well, you've got to be really careful not to make any contact with any of the walls, because that will cause significant damage to your car.
So we're currently in qualifying, and as usual each week this will determine which splits and which heats the drivers will be allocated to. We're going to have 3 of those heats today. The top 2 from each will advance to your feature race, and then we'll have 1 LCQ as we've had for the first couple of rounds. It all depends on the numbers we have each week on the entry list. We've got 15 again here today. So for, as you see, the Subaru there hit the wall. It's the slowest corner of the season there. Hits the wall again, does Christian Solberg, our race winner from last week. Not a good start in qualifying, but that LCQ will see 4 cars advance to the feature. Now, we talked about Tyler Whitten, Paul. He's one of 2 new drivers to the field this week. Tyler Whitten's very handy, not only on the simulator, but in the real world too. He's raced in FIA World RX and Red Bull GRC too. And we've also got a name very familiar with the racing world, and that's Ari Lundijk Jr.
Yeah, Ari Lundijk Jr., what a name to come into this event, and somebody I'm really looking forward to seeing on that. And yeah, definitely going to be great to see him taking part in this one. And the close action that we're going to see on screen is going to be great. 16 competitors here as well. So these drivers, they're going to have their work cut out here today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I said Tyler Whitten before. It's Tanner Whitten. We've got so many Tylers here behind the scenes in our team that it's overwhelming me. But as I talked about, Ari Lundijk Jr. is in the field, the 39-year-old racing for Red Carpenter Racing. Previously appeared on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette 2, for those who won't know, outside or off the racetrack, and he's raced in a couple of Indy 500s too. Very famous and very popular amongst the motor racing community. But here we go now. Time for racing action. Let's look at your Heat 1 grid. So Yokohama Pole Award will be awarded to Scott Speed. He's had a few of those this season. 3 of 3 to begin the campaign. Chris Atkinson starts alongside him. It's a 2x2 grid here. Tim Stevens, editor at CNET and Roadshow, will start on the second row with Connor Martell. Then you've got Travis Pastrana and Sage Karam, who won here for round 1. Didn't win here, but won in the series for round 1 at Daytona.
I'm still awaiting my my invitation to the Bachelor, but here we go. It's certainly going to be a good race, and nice to see out of all those pictures as well. Stevens there with the suit on as well, representing very dapper there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This track, it always produces great action in the Rallycross cars, and it's fun to race around as well. From if you ever want to race in the around this track, you can do in iRacing. I do it many a times and usually fail, so hopefully these guys can get it to the end here.
Yep, you can join iRacing at iRacing.com and you can take it to the big guns. Maybe you'll even race one of these drivers one day if they join a public race event. There is Des Moines, the capital of Iowa. We're all ready to go here for Heat 1. Lights out, and away we go. Brilliant start for Speed. Doesn't have to cover the inside. In second position is Tim Stevens. Stevens fares very well in Rallycross, and he's doing so again. Absolute poor getaway by Travis Pastrana. He's down the order. Chris Atkinson as well has made contact with someone, but to the Joker goes Pastrana along with Speed. The field is jumbled up here.
Yeah, we'll see how they come out across the line here. It will be Scott Speed at the front of your field then, as our graphics just getting caught up there. But yeah, look at that, the angle of attack there by Scott Speed across the jump. We know how quick he is here in Rallycross on the service, but right now heading through the infield. So this is his first time through this tricky infield, and we need to keep an eye on, are the other drivers then, Pastrana, Karam and Atkinson, are they going to all wait until the end? Karam and Atkinson, are they all going to wait until the end of this event before they take to the Joko? I think Atkinson has already taken to it.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Timing stuffing up here for the first few laps, so it's all over the place, but I think it's Speed in first, Martel second, so we think it's updated accurately. Chris Atkinson third. Yep. I saw Sage Karam with some contact. That's why he's fallen to last. Initially, it was showing him in third place for me, but I think that timing screen's accurate on the left-hand side now too. So Sage Karam is yet to take the Joker, and he should take to it this lap round, I would believe, potentially, because he had Travis Pastrana in terms of traffic, and he does. And you'll see him appear somewhere on screen. He just screams past, doesn't he? And into third, but not a transfer position.
And that's it. He's on the back now of Martel, and Martel has got a job on here because, you know, Sage Karam, winner of the opening round of this All-Star Invitational, he is quick as well in the service, and he is doing exactly what he needs to do here. But time running out already. We're on the penultimate lap here of this opening heat.
Been a quick heat here at Iowa. 35-second lap times. Scott Speed finally has luck go his way. This could be an overtake by Sage Karam on Connor Martel. If any of these two miss out, it'd be a catastrophe, and Karam's got it. Our round one winner at Daytona. Going for the switchback is Martel, but Karam covers it off with confidence. But he's made a mockery of the jump, and does that allow Martel a window up the inside? It does on the final lap.
Oh, look at Karam trying the over-under the back, and he goes back through. This is great action between these two for the final place to take them into that feature race. But yeah, you can see on board then with Martel, he's running out of opportunities. He's got one more chance into the hairpin.
Got to defend the inside if you're Sage Karam here, because Martel could dive. No, he doesn't. He goes for the original line. Karam locks up, but that's not going to mean anything now. Martel is going to fall behind and head to the LCQs. Your Marwin Sports LCQs. There's the 64 of Tim Stevens falling to trouble on the final lap. We mustn't forget Scott Speed has won the heat, and he'll also head through to your final feature race. So everybody else to your Marwin Sports LCQs. But Paul, a good classic to begin round number 3.
That was a great little battle between Sage Karam and Connor Martel there as well. So, yeah, it's Speed and Karam who qualify through to the final. But Martel, Atkinson, Stevens and Pastrana all heading to that LCQ. And we'll look at the grid now. It's Witten, Semenek, you've also got Lassick, you've got Aaron Lyondike Jr. and Blake Bilko Williams as we're going to go green.
Yeah, race has started already. Can barely catch it here. We've already had an accident. Ari Lundijk Jr. into the wall. Everyone's into the wall except, now again, is it Williams in the lead? It's hard to tell. Bilko Williams has made it through, but it's Witten in the lead from pole. Everybody else behind with some contact.
Yeah, Witten's in the lead. Williams is second. Now, interesting that none of the others have taken to the Joker. Just Tanner Witten jumping to the Joker on this opening lap.
Oh, and some, what was that? I thought we had a technical glitch there, but anyway, we continue. So Witten still leads. We have some contact here. The Team Yokohama car being collected by the Rockstar Energy Subaru of Bucky Lassick. Behind them is Ari Lundijk Jr. looking to impress in his first event. That's not a good way to do it as he misses the apex to the inside.
Contact there with Williams. Oh, and he's ended up, he's Austin Powers it in between two barriers. So Williams is stuck right now. He's trying to get going again. But yeah, that was Lassick in the jump. It's so difficult with the different speeds that the two drivers had over the jump. Contact was always going to be made.
So here's a replay of what happened.
So you'll see how Williams, he takes a different line, ends up going too wide there. That compromises his line on the exit here. Up onto the jump, and well, Lessig is into the back of him, and then into the wall between the two the two guardrails there. And yeah, he's back up and running though, but he's all the way down in last.
Saw that happen to Julian Shine a couple of years ago in the Sim Racers World Championship. Tanner Whitten, though, has been untouched in his first event. Rises over the jump. He's about to lap here. 5th place Bilko Williams, who gets right out of the way. So Tanner Whitten, for those who don't know, raced a couple of years in Red Bull GRC. One of those was for the Dirtfish Motorsports team, who are also a partner of us here in the iRacing World Championship for both the Sim Racers and the All-Stars. He also raced an FIA World RX, and that was in 2017 in RX2. Actually scored a P2. That was one of his best finishes. 4 other podiums to go with it, Paul. The winner that season was Cyril Raymond. A lot of people may be familiar with the Frenchman. Yeah,
and right now, Tanner has got it nice and easy up out at the front of the field here. So he's clearly the fastest driver out there on track, and set the fastest lap of this race as well so far. But the others, you know, they're not giving this one up yet to but you would imagine that Lessig, though, is going to end up in that transition position as well.
Bucky Lessig, who flew over someone last week over the jump at Atlanta, brings the Rockstar Energy Subaru home in a transfer position here on the final lap. Tanner Whitten's through. There he is, having some fun in the Ford Fiesta. There'll be a Subaru joining him in the heat. Everybody else to your Marwin Sports LCQs. Brandon Semenak, who was absent last week, returns and just misses out on a transfer spot. So for Ari Lundijk Jr., who was into the wall there, Paul, he'll be regretting that for sure. There you can see he comes home 30 seconds behind leader Tanner Whitten. Actually still hasn't crossed the line. He's just about to right now. But a chaotic heat yet again. We'll have a look at your Heat 3 grid, which would go up anytime soon. It's going up right now. And we'll begin with Kevin Swindell on pole alongside Pro Truck driver Tyler Meninga. Michael Leach for Lonebro Motorsports in 3rd alongside last week's winner Christian Solberg. And quadriplegic driver Mario Bonfante Jr. He's got a great story. We'll start from 5th. And we'll look to make up positions here at the inside. Already green for the final heat of the day. Much cleaner start, I say that. And we have one of the Subarus turned around. Is that? No, it's not Solberg. Solberg's into 2nd here with Michael Leach. Tyler Meninga's in 4th. He's going to force his way past Michael Leach now for 3rd. Who's going to head to the Joker? I think it's everyone, because Michael Leach has to take evasive action.
There's only, Leach ends up taking to the infield as more going on, but it was Mario Bonifate then who ended up around as up on 2 wheels and up and over. Oh, Christian Solberg, I don't think that's how you want to take that jump, and he's going to be stuck there.
Well, he'll be used to recce and all that, wouldn't he, in the World Rally Championship? This is a circuit. But I think he'll need to somehow find his way the right way up here. I'm not sure if recce will help that. Christian Solberg's going to be officially out of the race. He pulls it, gets a virtual tow back to pit lane. And the rest of them continue. So right now, don't trust Solberg's leading, but that will change once they cross the start-finish line. So it's Kevin Swindell who's in the lead from Tyler Meninga. And there you can see it, shuffling and changing. They've all taken the Joker. Michael Leach, though, has it up his sleeve. Now remember, the gap we're looking for is 11.3 seconds.
Yeah, Leach, he's about 14 seconds behind the leader right now. So he's a bit off of the pace there of being able to make it. But he was compromised. He wanted to take to the Joker on the opening lap. And unfortunately for him, he got bullied out of it. And that's cost him dearly in this race. But you would have thought a bit of clear track there, Jonathan, that would have helped him overall in this race.
Well, you can't really think in Rallycross, Paul, so you're contradicting yourself there. Anything can happen. So the gap now, you spoke about it, it's about 13.3 seconds between Leach and Meninga. 12.9 now. This is getting very intriguing. If Leach saves its joker for the final lap, he should be able to find his way past at least Meninga for a transfer position, as Leach does not take the joker, at least according to our timing screens, which I can barely trust today.
No, he's saving that joker for the last lap. He is wanting to do that joker on the last lap, and that's the right decision for me.
Yeah, so the Fiesta is going to continue to turn 7 and 8 here. Very tricky. Can barely spot the jump here on the exit. It's so blind in the cockpit. So it's up to Michael Leach now. The gap, 10.7 to Tyler Meninga. This is a transfer position potentially for the Lone Bro Motorsports Ford Fiesta. Into the joker he goes. Where's he going to appear? Swindell's in the lead. Meninga is behind. And Michael Leach will transfer to your feature race.
Perfect, absolutely perfect what he did there. Able to get through. He had that clear air and clear track in front of him. Nobody to slow him down. And he made it count in the end.
Kevin Swindell was untouched, and that was a brilliant heat from him, but great stuff by Michael Leach, who's improving week to week. If he can pull off that on Tyler Meninga, that was very impressive. Tyler definitely struggled to keep the pace up in that heat, was under pressure, but you'll have a second shot at it from good grid position in your Marwin Sports LCQs. For Mario Bonfanti Jr., he fell in trouble in the opening lap, and that cost him a vital few seconds. We saw Solberg on his roof. I spoke about it. Ain't no recce getting you the right way up. It's impossible. You have to pull it back and get a virtual tow to the pit lane. And that was his day done for last week's feature race winner. As we head over and we'll look at your grid for today's Marwin Sports LCQ. So Martel from Seminac on the front row. We're going to have to do this quickly because these events start so quickly. Meninga and Atkinson. Atkinson fell into a lot of contact with Tim Stevens earlier. That's why he was in trouble. Fell to your Marwin Sports LCQs. Ari Lundijk Jr. will get another shot. Got 10 cars for this one. And at the back is Travis Pastrana, who starts behind Tim Stevens, Bilko Williams, and a few others. Here we go now. One and only Marwin Sports LCQs. We go green from Iowa. Brilliant start from Martel. Seminak's going to be hung out to dry around the outside. And he's almost turned around. You know who is turned around is Tyler Meninga. He's missed the jump. He's not even on camera. You can't see him. Martel leads though.
Well, you've got a ridiculous situation where nobody wants to be in second place. They're all battering each other out the way there. There's 4 qualification spots here, guys. You know, take it easy.
Well, Meninga heads to the joker. He's going to take Christian Solberg takes the effective lead from 9th. So Solberg's in the lead so far from Meninga. They've taken the joker, and that graphic on the left-hand side of the screen will update as they cross the start-finish line. Here is the Subaru leading the race. Everybody else follows behind. Where is Travis Pastrana? Pastrana's out of the race now too. Travis Pastrana's day is done. He's had no luck in this series either. And look at the squabbling down the bottom end of your top 10.
And this is it. They're fighting too hard and slowing each other down. And that's going to cost them big time as they carry on through this race. Meninga's now taken a tour back to the pit. So
and Williams.
We've got a number of drivers sat around in the pit lane. If we're not too careful, we might end up with just 4 cars left at this race.
Well, will we see the first ever potential non-finisher make it through to your feature? Got 7 cars remaining. Top 4 advance, like we said. So it's Martel from Seminac, Solberg, Ari Lundijk Jr. and Mario Bonfanti Jr. But we wait for Tim Stevens and Chris Atkinson to take the joker. At the moment, Tim Stevens heads to the joker. And he will appear right behind Ari Lundijk Jr. They're going for a transfer position. Stevens! Oh, Lundijk Jr. has done it again, and he's blown the engine on the VW Beetle.
He tried to get the over-under there. The only problem is that there was a wall in the way, stopping him getting the over-under there. Absolutely What a nightmare. And Ari, well, it's not his day here today, let's be honest, and he'll be glad that well, he's got a bit more practice in the sim at least.
Well, Chris Atkinson's taken the Joker too, but he's a fair way behind Tim Stevens, so we think your top 4 are locked in. As Chris Atkinson, rare to see him miss a feature too for Chris Atkinson. And last week he fared ever so well, as you would know, podium for him. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Connor Martell, Brandon Semenak for Subaru Motorsports USA. Christian Solberg will get another shot in the feature, and so will Tim Stevens. Stevens has impressed Paul. We spoke about him last week, and he even wrote some articles and some great pieces about getting some driver coaching from world champion Mitchell de Jong, who's fared ever so well, both on the sim and the real world in Rallycross.
You can't get somebody much better than Mitchell to give you some driving advice here in Rallycross, and certainly he is a well-versed driver. But there you go, across the line, we've got our finishers.
Well, that was a chaotic event. It's all done now. So Martell, Semenak make it through, Solberg and Stevens, everybody else will wave goodbye to from the virtual Iowa Speedway. It's the only time we visit it for your All-Stars this campaign, as we look at the results for your Marwin Sports LCQ. And look at the gaps between the top 4, very competitive. Atkinson fell into some trouble in that Team Yokohama Subaru. And Mario Bonfani Jr., who represents Marwin Sports, is out of your Marwin Sports LCQs. 4 DNFs, haven't seen that in quite some time. In RX, for Pastrana, again, another day, and another day with no luck. And his many millions of fans will be disappointed yet again, but he'll be back at it in a week's time from the virtual Norway.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with how things have gone, but now the drivers that have qualified, this is their opportunity just to get used to how the track is run, because remember, we do have a little bit of a reset of the set track, and then they'll be getting ready for that final.
And that final's coming up. Got 10 drivers ready for the most points on offer here. It's all on the other side of this. Don't leave us. Back here from your Marwin Sports LCQs, we've got a feature race coming up. 10 of the best in an inverted top 10. It's Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth alongside Paul Smith. Now, Paul, one thing we didn't mention is that the top 10 for the feature is inverted. That's going to be every race this season. And we saw in week 1, do you remember, at Daytona for round 1, Sage Karam from the back row, the seas parting. It sounds cliche, but that's literally what happened. And he managed to find his way into first only after a few corners.
Yeah, it was one of the single greatest starts that you could ever want and ask for as a driver, is just seeing all the cars just seem to go left and right and leaving you this big gap right down the middle for you to go through. And that's what happened that week 1. But it's a different style of track here, different layout, and you want to be on that inside line going into turn 1 here at this event, because it is such a tight right-hander from the start area.
So Scott Speed's had 3 poles, yet to have a race win this season. Is today his day? Now I look at the grid, he's starting from 10th and last, obviously was the best scoring driver coming out of your heats, but for Sage Karam, who we know is one of Speed's closest competitors, he'll start from 7th, Paul. Is that a disadvantage for Scott Speed, do you think?
It's how you can get past people as quickly as possible to try and get the win. And really, that's going to be the key here. We've seen how good Scott is starting from the front and being able to pull away. We saw that in the heat race. This feature, though, 10 laps, you've got the time, you've got the opportunity, but you need to take those opportunities when they come to you. And Scott is he's ultra competitive, that's for sure, and he'll want to get as far forward as quickly as possible.
Brandon Semenak starts from the second row. He'll start from third. Now, he's a free ride mountain bike rider, and he's one of the best mountain bike riders in history, the Canadian, who hails from Whistler in British Columbia. For people who know, they had the Whistler Sliding Centre. That's the first thing I think of from the old Winter Olympics over there in Vancouver. But he joined Subaru Motorsports USA in 2020, and he's competing in some rally events. He's competed in some Canadian Rally Championship events too. These action sports legends, they need as much adrenaline as possible, and it hails right down to the virtual world here too.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get much more raw and intense than Rallycross, really, can you, in the world of motorsport? Yeah, this gives you a great... It's so intense, these races. You're so focused at the time. Your body's pumped up and it's full of adrenaline. And you finish that race and it's, wow, is it over already? Good grief. So, yeah, it is a great way of getting that little bit of a adrenaline rush from the safety of your own home.
And we've also got Bucky Lasek, who we spoke about. Bucky is, you'll see him in all the Tony Hawk games about 20 years ago. Paul, did you play those?
One of them. I only ever played one of them, yeah. Those Tony Hawk games, I mean, they're legendary. That's for sure. And I was fortunate enough to see Tony Hawk when I went out to the Australian Grand Prix in 2014. So that was pretty good. But here we go. We've got a grid.
Yeah, you and I didn't know each other back then, but we were literally meters apart. We didn't know until a few years later when we spoke about it. Here's your grid for the feature. So Tim Stevens on pole. It's an inverted top 10. Last week's race winner, Christian Solberg, will be looking to do the same from the front row. We talked about Semenak. He'll start alongside the young Connor Martell. Michael Leach and Bucky Lasek head the third row. It's a 2x2 grid up all the way down to 10th position here, because behind Bucky Lasek are Sage Karam, round one winner, and Kevin Swindell. He's very handy in an RX car. And then Tanner Witten, the newbie, who's impressed today in the number 11 Ford Fiesta, will start alongside Scott Speed, who will hail the outside line. Scott Speed's got his work cut out for him here today from Iowa.
This is going to be an intense start. These drivers are going to be really G'd up. They want to win. Every one of these drivers are here to win. They may say that, oh yeah, it's just a bit of fun and that, but as soon as you get it behind the wheel, you want to win in these events. And that's exactly what we'll see here for the next 10 laps.
Well, it's a 115-meter run down to the first hairpin here, and that's what causes so much chaos at these starts at Iowa. It can bottleneck. We'll see P1 here. Tim Stevens may cover Brandon Semenak, but it's the outside of Christian Solberg. He's a sitting duck. He's on the right-hand side of the screen in the white Subaru. Will he be able to make it through clean and unscathed at the exit of turn one? Look at Connor Martell. He's very rapid off the starts. Brandon Semenak, he's not afraid of a passing maneuver, is he, the Canadian? It'll be 10 laps of action, one joker available for the drivers for your final feature race for round number 3 from Iowa. We go green for the final time. Brilliant jump by Stevens, who's turned around already. Oh, that's the worst start possible. One driver's over the barrier, I saw, Paul. They're off the racetrack. They won't make it back on. Oh, yeah, absolute catastrophe.
Stevens. That's Tim Stevens, who's up over the barrier. I think that is possibly the worst start I have ever seen in a sim race. That is for sure. But Connor Martell out at the front has taken to the joker already, as has Sage Karam and Kevin Swindell.
Yeah, a lot of drivers taking to the jokers. That is a absolutely hilarious start. I was not expecting that off the start line. It reminded me, do you remember, Paul, back in the day in GP2, we had Timo Glock, I think, and somebody else have an accident over at the Magny Core. It looks similar to that as we watch Bucky Lasek here in the 5th position. He and Scott Speed have yet to take to the Joker. Scott Speed's right behind him in the Subaru, but he's going to have no room, and he continues to the middle sector. Brilliant decision by Speed. Karam will be overtaken by Lasik and Solberg. And Solberg, by the way, is leaving a lot of virtual oil out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's, this car is a bit beaten up there, and Sage is coming up to try and take him. You just see them in the background there, but Lasik, what a drive he's having so far. Up into 2nd place. You see those front 5 drivers have all taken to the Joker lap so far in this race. Sage Karam now up into 3rd place here.
So look at the drivers who haven't taken the Joker, and that's Scott Speed, who's 13.8 seconds from your leader. Here's a battle as Sage Karam made his way past Christian Solberg, and Solberg with, I think that's a car, and now Karam's going to return serve heading into the hairpin. Solberg's going to return serve again. Oh, these guys are angry.
They're beating 7 bells out of each other. This is... well, it's entertaining, but it's not exactly quick for them because everybody else is coming through. Look at that, Kevin Swindell made it past Sage. Sage and Solberg just seem to have their own personal little battle here. And Scott Speed's taken to the Joker.
And look at this, exactly. So Speed now took to it early because he was approaching all that traffic. He's got to make a move, though, on Connor Martel for the win. So it's these two of Scott Speed, 4-time Rallycross champion, to make a move on Connor Martel for victory. We're looking at that, and we're going to look at some other scraps as well. But Connor Martel, Paul, the 23-year-old, nicknamed the Hammer, could win this race if he can hold together the former Formula One driver.
Yeah, this is going to be intriguing how these two go. Speed is the fastest driver out there. He got the Yokohama award for pole position in qualifying, so he knows that he's quicker, and that's what he needs to remember. Just do what you need to do. Look at that shot round the corner there. Sensational. Karam and Semenek there are battling between the two of them. But yeah, great stuff to see, and look at how you see how close they get to the walls around here. It's great. Look at the run off of the jump there as well. Looking to the inside of Karam, not quite making it this time.
Well, it's been a furious heat, a furious feature, I should say the least, an FF. And I wasn't expecting this. I did expect some carnage, but I wasn't expecting this. Here's the battle for the lead. Scott Speed's only got a few laps left to make a move on Martel as we ride on board with Speed. And we watch him potentially up the inside here. He's going to get it done that quickly with a minor bit of contact. But the American is finally into 1st position.
But did you see how clean and crisp Scott was compared to Martel? Then Martel drifting it sideways. It's not the quickest way around that corner, and Speed took advantage of that down the inside. Great overtake there from Scott.
And so I don't know if we should take a breather because 3rd place is still being fought out. So Bucky Lasik in 3rd. Kevin Swindell's... I think Bucky Lassik's got it. I got confused because there's a lap car of Tim Stevens in the way. Remember, Tim Stevens was flung over the barrier, which I'm really not sure, Paul, how they managed to tow that car back onto the racetrack.
Well, they managed it. That's one of the beauties of the virtual world, is that they are able to tow that car back. But yeah, the battle for 3rd place is...
I think it's done. It's
done, but it's Swindell and Karam, though. They're still pretty close together out there on track. So don't write them out. And Semenek and Witten as well.
Exactly. Tanner Witten just took to the Joker. Tim Stevens gets out of the way with blue flags. Witten now could potentially, we're watching this off camera, but Tanner Witten could make a move here on Brandon Semenek for 6th. As the battle for the lead, we thought it was done, but Martel's keeping Scott Speed honest here. But yeah, it's as you said, Paul, so I think at the moment, the closest scrap is between Semenek and Witten, and I think Witten's got his work cut out for him in the Fiesta. Has impressed, though, I would say, in his first event here in the All-Star Invitational.
Yeah, he bit of a disappointing heat race. but then he's really come on leaps and bounds into through the LCQ, and now this as well into the feature. Look at them both throw the car in, but we're on the final lap already. This event has flown by here.
Felt like just a few minutes ago there was a huge accident, wasn't there? But we still got 10 cars running somehow, and Scott Speed finally deserves all the luck on his side after 2 rounds in the opening 2 rounds that never went his way. He is officially a winner in the iRacing All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama, and he'll be celebrating that for sure. Delight for Scott Speed, the American, who's followed by Connor Martell. Saw a Fiesta there barely. Oh, and some carnage after the race. You know what? I do love that, Paul, as the drivers scream into each other at the end of this, or at the conclusion of this event. Bucky Lassick will round out the podium too, and we'll look at your results. But a classic feature to remember for sure.
Well, maybe not the first 115 metres, but still, after that, there was some tremendous action going on, and I have to say, great job from Scott Speed. I said he needed to take his chances when he got them. That's exactly what he did out there, and Speed, the fastest driver in the qualifying, went and cleared his heat race, and then takes the victory here from the back of the grid.
Yeah, so good top 3 there. Bucky Lassick, after overtaking someone last week by flying over them, gets what he deserves in number 81, gets a podium to his name. Martell's very quick. People actually underrate Connor Martell in these cars for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. Only 1.3 seconds away from Scott Speed. Now, I'm not sure if that was Scott Speed just keeping his pace after making the move, or whether or not Connor Martell just ramped up the speed, because I thought Speed was going to fly away, that's pun intended, and take this win by a few seconds. So good stuff from Connor Martell regardless. And we look down the order, Sage Karam, who had potential to win this race if he wasn't involved in the opening carnage, could have potentially finished on top of the others. So what do we make of that, Paul? Because we're warming up to our sim racers who are coming up in a few minutes time after this. Our Sim Racing World Championship that pays about $25,000 of total series and prizes. I hope it's not as chaotic.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, this racing was intense, don't get me wrong, but the racing that we're going to get coming up in a few minutes is going to be even more. It's going to be ramped up even more here, Jonathan.
Well, let's look at the start and the replay of the start here for that feature race. We'll nickname this the Furious Feature. So you've got Stevens on the right, Solberg on the left. It was Martell trying to split the two that caused a lot of that carnage, and Solberg turned in. How in the world, Paul? Look at Tim Stevens. He's stuck on the wrong side of the racetrack, and he's wedged. Oh, hilarious. And I feel bad for Stevens, but I tell you what, somehow he made it back onto the racetrack.
Yeah, on the 3 actually made it through that corner relatively cleanly, but yeah, certainly great action. Once that happened and they sorted themselves out, we did see some tremendous racing out there. So I believe we're getting close to having some interviews here, Jonathan.
Yeah, we're going to speak to your top 3, but first of all, we're going to hear from our partners at Dirtfish, who are an exclusive partner for us. They host not an exclusive, excuse me, but they do award the Rookie of the Year award for our sim racers. Our sim racers can actually win a trip over there and get to learn from the Dirtfish Motorsports team, and we'll bring you your top 3 after this.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
So welcome back. It's post-race interview time, and we're going to speak to your winner, and his name is Scott Speed. Scott, I really feel you deserve that victory, mate. After all the bad luck at Daytona, all the bad luck last week, you finally got what you deserved.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the let's say experience level of everybody on here in this all-star race is quite diverse. So I look, I like the inverted final. I like keeping it interesting. I think it's pretty cool to have all the guys that we do in here trying out iRacing and trying out Rallycross, and it makes for an interesting time, that is for sure.
Did you make it through clean at the start there? Because we watched the replay back, and it was hard to pick apart who was who.
Yeah, they all wadded it up in front of me. I just stopped, waited for everybody to move, and then carried on.
About your pace too. Once you passed Connor Martell, did he really have the speed to keep up with you, or do you think you just ramped down the speed and just took it easy to bring it home?
I mean, that's kind of my deal, though. Like I will always win with the least amount of effort possible. So once I got in the lead, I basically just kind of cruised around.
What was the banter like today? I know a lot of people love to have a laugh at the expense of others.
It's always good, man. That's why we have a good time doing this. It's like I said, the experience level between some guys is quite diverse, and it makes it for a good time. I don't think anybody takes us too seriously, which is nice. And so everybody just has, like I said, have a good time. And it was cool to see Bucky get through the first corner. I think he got cleaned out last week. So it was cool to see him up there racing. He did a good job, and yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to enjoy watching that one back. But Scott, we'll leave you to it, mate, and thanks for coming on. But Paul, we've also got Connor Martell. Congratulations to Scott, I should say. I never mentioned congratulations, but there you go. Connor Martell will come on next. And here we are. Connor Martell, do we got you, first of all?
Yes, you do.
Ah, perfect. You came home in second, and you had the pace to win that. I'm not sure how you made it through unscathed at the start, but talk about the start. You tried to find your way between Solberg and Stevens, it looked like, and then the door just closed out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm very surprised I made it through there. The past couple races, I've had some bad luck with that, but yeah, I had a really good jump with them and got like just in between the both of them in the back, and it seemed like Christian kind of just kept sneaking down, and I had nowhere to go, and he kind of spun himself out and took out the other guy. But yeah, it was definitely a good feeling to come out in front without getting taken out.
Talk about when Scott Speed made his way past you at turn one. I think you went offline for a bit. There's just no grip there where the track really wasn't worn. But after that, it seemed like Scott just seemed to, and he talked about it, just seemed to sort of take it easy. Or was that you pushing to try and make up the gap back up to him?
I mean, I saw Scott like one lap in my rear view. I was like, uh-oh, here we go. Because I did zero practice coming into this. I literally did 2 laps in practice today because I was late getting to my simulator. So I had to download the track and do all that. And so I knew it was going to be a difficult round. But once I saw Scott, I was like, yeah, he's coming up really fast. And I went offline. He got by me, and I definitely pushed pretty hard. I'm sure he wasn't going as hard as he could go, but I think I stayed with him pretty well towards the end. And I caught up to him pretty close and then made another mistake. But it's part of it. I'm happy with a second place, and I'm more focused on the overall of the championship.
I will hint this at you, and final thing, if your pace continues, and we know Scott Speed can match it with the best in the World Championship for the sim races, could we potentially see you with a wild card hopefully next year to compete with our sim races? We know you got the pace for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an honor. I would be super, super excited to be able to do that and race with those guys. I always watch their races after our races are over, and yeah, it's incredible how fast they are. And I think that series is really unique because they get to do all their own setups, and I haven't done that with this iRacing because I've been doing the IRX invitational ones. But that would be awesome if I got a wild card to come in next year for that series.
Yeah, awesome, Connor. Congratulations again. That's your 2018 ARX2 champion, Connor Martell, Paul. We are trying to get Bucky Lasek in for an interview. We're trying our best, and we'll keep you all posted at home about that. But Paul, for Connor, as I spoke about, he's got the pace to compete with our sim racers, I think. And I'd love to see him in a wildcard position next year.
You never say never, do you? That's for sure. And yeah, I'm really impressed with how he was able to. He was controlling things out at the front. Yes, he found himself in that position, and just purely from the start of that race. So, but you've got to take that advantage whilst you can. And he did keep up a good pace. Yes, Scott kept on, did catch up to him and then made that move, and just one or two little mistakes, as Connor alluded to there, but he's certainly got a lot of potential there. But when you start setting up the car to how you want to feel it, that gives you that confidence in the car then, and that makes it, you get the car doing what you want it to do. You just pick up, that speed ramps up so quickly here.
And this sim racer is going to ramp up the competition in a few minutes' time. That's coming up on the other side of this. We'll try our best to get Bucky Lassick in a few moments' time. We'll keep you posted on that. But let's revisit the highlights from round 3. It was a brilliant event at Atlanta, and it saw a hat trick from John Robertson for Team Yokohama. It saw his first career win, and it saw the championship leader extend that lead heading into Iowa this week. Everybody even at the start here. Robertson's going to man first position. It looks like Sami Matti Trogan sneaking his way past. Taskinen almost turned around. He's made a bit of contact here with Connor Parisi. Don't forget, Connor Parisi has a 5-second penalty for an incident last week with Mitchell de Jong. So far, it's Robertson, Trogan, Fox in third, Parisi fourth. He's going to be disposed after the penalty.
And here he goes down into the Joker. All of that momentum. There's Taskinen in front of him. All of that speed. He's going to run a little bit wide. He hits the barriers. He's able to keep it under control, but no. He turns Taskinen.
And that could be a penalty ensuing for Garrett Lowe. He's going to try and readdress the position. And he was just totally out of control. John Robertson will win, though, as he crosses the line 200 meters into the first corner. We go green for Heat 2 of the evening. Hearth with a poor getaway. Lemon Sibu may take the lead around the outside. Hearth has somehow forced his way past, but I think Yoni Olikanen's trying to make his way past in the first. Concertina effect as the field screams over the jump. I see a driver in the wall. That was Henrik Krogstad potentially. This is still important, these positions, for grid position anyway. Now, how about this from Olikainen? Will he actually take the Heat victory? The number 1 ranked rookie coming into the season. He fared ever so well in the pro qualifying series. I think you'll keep it clean to end this race. And you'll start from down the order on the 3rd row for your feature race. But he advances, which is most important for his championship challenge. Same so for Johan Haar. Here we go now for heat number 3. Zelensky, strong getaway. Same so for Hallman. Really important for Hallman to make a move on Jake Robertson, and he does. I see one of the set cars of Rasmus Toivonen into the barrier and into the wall. This may be a DNF for Rasmus Toivonen down the order. But so far at the front of the field, it's Zelensky from Hallman. Robertson locks up the rears, and somehow the two don't make contact as Jonathan Payet follows. Hallman is so far ahead, he's not even on screen. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. That Finn is so fast as there's contact between Payet and Jake Robertson. We're going to have a look at the replay. Hallman's going to advance along with Zelensky. What's happened, though, between these two?
It's actually not with Robertson. Look at, I believe that's Matamoros coming through the Joker, and look at the amount of speed the 99 was trying to carry. And, well, we've seen that incident once today already, Johnny. And here we see it for the first time in the sim races portion of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship.
5 laps of action. Important for de Jong to get a good getaway. We go green for your final heat of the day. Mäkinen and de Jong. Nothing setting the two apart. They're still alongside each other in the final corner. Someone's going to concede, and it's Mäkinen. Albert in third in the VW Beetle, looking good for a transfer spot. Vicente Salas, his teammate right behind. You've got 2 Andretti Autosports cars trying to make a move, and he heads to the Joker. He appears right in front of his teammate. He almost bins it into the wall. It's not going to matter anyway now because de Jong is going to win. It was a clean event. Mäkinen in second. Everybody to your Marwin Sports LCQs behind. Long run down to 1. Fox with a poor getaway. Jake Robertson with a good getaway, but he doesn't have track position. He's actually shoved off the racetrack. Didn't quite catch who made contact with him, but Jake Robertson is down the order and into last place, but at the front, it's Josh Fox well ahead into a transfer position. Taskinen turned around, and no, for the Williams Esports driver who's on his roof. Well, Kevin Hansen and Timmy Hansen, who race in the FIA World Rallycross Championship, they'll be proud that Josh Fox is going to advance in the Hansen Williams Esports car. And that is Williams Esports in affiliation with the Williams Formula One team. They've had that esports team for a couple of years now. Javi Guerrero will be proud watching this event, knowing that he'll see a couple of his cars in that feature. We go green from Atlanta. Matrani, good getaway, contact behind, absolute carnage, but everybody's kept it pointing in a straight line. Somehow, I take that back because I see utter carnage at the jump here. At the front, it's Matrani from Salas, who's jumped ahead of teammate Bo Albert. Your Andretti Autosport cars, though, have some work to do for the transfer position.
Rule number 1 of racing, don't hit your teammate. We're about to see what Salas does. You see him running very wide, setting up for the Joker, carrying as much speed as he can on the entry. He's come out just behind Albert, though, and unfortunately for Salas, a little bit too far behind. Bo Albert is going to advance to the feature race.
Well, you say that. You're just going to nail these couple of final braking zones. Oh, we almost turned his teammate around in Vicente Salas. Oh, man, be careful. Bo Albert officially wins. And we go green from Atlanta for the final time. Brilliant jump by Robertson. Brilliant jump by teammate Harth. Johan is going to try and make a move. He's going to have to close the door on everybody else as well. The Frenchman almost turned around, but Tommy Horman has somehow found his way in a second, and he's got a run here at first on John Robertson.
Down the inside he looks, but Team Yokohama's Robertson is going to hold on to the position at the back of your grid, though. Sammy Matty Trogan, defending champion, turned around and running dead last. A lot of work to do as you see a bunch of cars diving down into the Joker.
And the good news for Robertson, Arjuna, is we thought he may have been able to, get some clean, consistent results without a win. Yoni Weeman won the 2014 GRC champion. As we ride on board with De Jong, he won the championship without a race win, but for Robertson, if he sneaks this race win, it's a good bonus for the campaign. Is he going to win this event? Takes the wide line. He's going for the Joker, and it's confirmed. Screams through there. He might end up behind Johan Harth. He's lost that much time behind the Andretti Autosport car. That's day done. John Robertson's got it. It's going to be a scrap for your final podium positions. He scored a number of podiums in his career before this, and the race win was always going to come. He'll enjoy this moment for the rest of his life. John Robertson is officially a World Championship winner on iRacing. Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. What a championship it's been so far, an absolute classic, and we've still got more to come. It's time for your sim races as we welcome you to Iowa Speedway, the fastest short track on the planet, and it's located just a half-hour's drive from Des Moines, the capital city of Iowa in the United States of America. It's the fourth round of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. All coverage today on the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back, Paul, to Rallycross this week. It was a good one last week at Atlanta, and I'm disappointed you missed it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to commentate on that one, but we certainly got a tremendous bit of action to bring you here today. I'm certainly looking forward to getting stuck into this one.
And I'm certainly looking forward to speaking to Bucky Lassick. We promised you a chat with your podium finisher. Bucky, we got you?
Well, I mean, very technical track. I had a hard time kind of learning this one because I don't really have my braking points and all that down and brake pressure. So turn one was quite the incident, and I just tried to benefit the best I could there.
I'm just glad, Bucky, you had some luck this week, man, because the other weeks, I think last week at Atlanta, we saw you fly over someone and overtake, which I've never seen before in Rallycross, and you've been involved in some carnage, but finally a podium. You get what you deserve, as I told Scott Speed.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but Mario freaking smashed me last week from behind, and
Yeah.
It's all good and everything. Like, I know it's hard to control these cars because you're going off of sensors in your steering wheel and pedals and not really getting, you know, the butt feel from it. So even I, like, sometimes, like, kind of almost get in the back of people.
For people who don't know, obviously you're very famous for your skateboard career as well, but some people don't actually know, and this is weird, Bucky, that you did race in Rallycross and you are very familiar with racing these in the real world, many years in Red Bull GRC. Would this be a track you would have loved to see in a GRC? Bucky, you got the push to talk working maybe?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, this one's kind of technical. I prefer Daytona, actually. Daytona I did quite well at. Unfortunate for the race itself, but in real life I'm actually quite fast there. Here it's kind of technical. I'd probably be battling some car settings in real life because you know, the old Subarus that I drove, they were on-off switches. The new ones don't look quite as bad, so they yeah, I'd like to find myself on this track in real life for sure.
Yeah, awesome. All right, we'll leave you to it, Bucky. We've got our sim races coming up in a second. Hope you enjoyed that one, and congrats as well on P3.
Thank you. Luck was on my side this time. Have a good one, guys. Great job.
Catch you later, mate. Paul, we are about to head into your sim racing event, and it's time to look at the schedule that has been presented to us this season. It's a brilliant schedule picked out by Travis Pastrana and series organizer Chris Leone from iRacing. 3 different winners to begin the campaign. Now, remember, last year we had 4 different winners from the first 4 races, so this is nothing new to Rallycross.
No, this is the beauty of Rallycross, isn't it? You don't always get the same drivers into that feature race, and everyone's got that opportunity here in Rallycross, and it certainly produces some great racing. I was so happy to see John Robertson get the win last week because he does put a lot of time and effort into the series along with his brother, but yeah, it was great to see the young Brit getting that result there.
This series does pay $25,000 in total cash and prizes, and we've got a Yokohama Pole Award to hand out too. We're also going to hand out the Dirtfish Rookie of the Year Award at the end of the season. That's at the moment. That's led by Joni Ollikainen at the moment in the standings, which we'll have a look at in a moment's time. But there's no clear-cut winner for your Yokohama Pole Award. 3 different pole sitters in your first few rounds, and there is 6 points for the pole sitter on offer too. Who's going to take that in our qualifying session here from Iowa? Don't forget, your feature race winner, who will claim 15 points, also wins a gift set awarded by Marwin Sports. And they also host our Marwin Sports LCQs. So it's time also, Paul, to look at your standings, and look at this as well. John Robertson, who has run away with the championship lead. He almost has a race advantage here on everybody else in the field.
Yeah, he's had a tremendous start to the season, but you've now got to keep that up as well, as you can see also next to their point standings. You've got the red numbers there. That's the cutoff then for the qualification for next year's championship, the World Championship. So at the moment, Garrett Maines and Garrett Lohr, Alexei Heikkinen as well, only just out of that qualification at the moment. It's incredibly close when you think from 6th all the way down to 16th, 17th. Incredibly tight field here, and that means every result matters here.
Yeah, certainly does. So Bo Albert, who's the highest placed Volkswagen driver, faring quite well. Round 1 winner Alari Lamansibu has yet to make a feature since that win, but he still finds himself in the top 6 in the standings. It's really been, your standout drivers have really come from 4 different teams here. Team Yokohama, Set Esports, Subaru Motorsports USA, and your Chad Reed 22 Motorsports cars. Everybody else behind has got some work to do, all the way down to, we got about 28 drivers here this year. 29 have competed so far due to some drivers missing off the grid, and so be it. We'll look at your format for today's event, and it includes qualifying first, and then we head into your heat races. 4 of those heat races where the top 2 each advance to the feature. 1 winner from each your Marwin Sports LCQs heads to the feature. Then we have 10 drivers for 10 laps of action. 1 joker available for each heat, LCQ and feature for the drivers. And we'll look at what will it take to win here at Iowa. Your short wheelbase car, Paul, of your VW and the Fiesta cars, plural I should say, have the advantage here, I would say.
They certainly do. The Joker as well, you have such an advantage when you run through that Joker as well there. And the bottleneck at the start, we saw that to great effect in the All-Stars Invitational that we saw just a few minutes ago. But you see how that can affect and have a massive effect on the outcomes of the feature race and all the races, in fact.
And we still have a couple of minutes left in qualifying. It is time to look at potentially a new pole sitter this year. So Johan Hart, the Frenchman, currently leads the timing screens. We ride on board with the Dirtfish Subaru of Cabot Bigham, who's driving for Jim Beaver Esports this year. Cabot Bigham, the 2016 Red Bull GRC Lights champion. And here's the middle sector we're talking about, Paul. Very tight and twisty. And it's difficult to get this Subaru around all these tight hairpins. Here's one of the slowest corners of the season coming up.
Yeah, got to really keep it in tight. Don't go too high up there. Run along the apron then, and then try and straighten up your braking. That's what they're doing there, they're diagonaling it. Straighten your braking, and then into those final 2 corners. Up over the jump, and before you know it, you're back to where you started again. It's a tremendous lap around here. It's such a challenge for these drivers.
And Johan Hart for Team Yokohama is a bit of a qualifying specialist. If he can maintain this lap time and no one beats him, it'll be a 5th career pole to his name. And he'll edge teammate John Robertson, who leads the championship. Mitchell de Jong's got his work cut out for him, but he'll still start from pole in his respective heat, and so will Joni Ollikainen. I'm very impressed from Josh Fox, though, Paul, to line up 5th. He'll start alongside Hart at the moment if he keeps that 5th position, and that will be for Heat 1.
Yeah, Fox has had a bit of an up and down last couple of years, hasn't he, with this series? He seems to do well at some tracks, but then not others, and gets involved in incidents. But time is counting down here, so we'll be getting you all set very shortly for the grid with your first heat race, and it's going to come thick and fast is all the action.
Yeah, this track is very fast. Johan Hart, who is officially your Yokohama Pole Award winner, just smashed the qualifying record by half a second. He'll start on pole alongside Williams Esports, Josh Fox, Rasmus Toivonen and Alari Lamansibu right behind. Toivonen has yet to make a feature race this season after he fared ever so well in Super 1600 last week at Barcelona. Actually flipped on his roof and had an injured shoulder, and we wish him well and hope he's recovered well. At least he's racing today, so we hope to see him healthy and well. Garrett Lowe and the Fiesta starts behind them, along with Marcus Matamoros and Alexei Heikkinen. The 2 Burton Kligerman Esports cars line up the back of the field. What we should mention too is Garrett Maines had a qualifying ban. And so Paul, he unfortunately will have to start towards the back, was unable to set the qualifying time. That was due to a truck cut last week. But everybody else has set a lap time. Now, what do we expect from the start here? I know Johan Hart, I spoke to him during the week, said if he starts from pole, the job is to cover off P3 up the inside. That's Rasmus Toivonen, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. So here we go. First heat of the day, 5 laps of action. 1 joker available for the drivers. We go green from Iowa. Hearth covers the inside as discussed. Toivonen finds his way in a second. Fox keeps it very cautious and will file down to third. He may even be passed here by a couple others. But it looks like Hearth is going to lead, but doesn't take to the joker, and Toivonen dives down to the joker. Interesting strategy from the Team Yokohama driver.
If you feel that you're going to be better off with getting from behind somebody, take to the joker, get it out of the way, get yourself some clear space and get that pace going. But yeah, Toivonen and Fox then, the 2 drivers who took to the joker at the start here. Well, interesting to see how that all pans out now for Heikkinen and Hearth, who actually down in 4th place at the moment with Heikkinen taking that joker as well.
I don't think Johan Hearth will take the joker until the final lap, or unless he meets some traffic. The gap now 10.2 seconds to leader Rasmus Toivonen. So we think Hearth has got this done and dusted, but we'll see how the rest of the race goes on. Everybody else behind Heikkinen yet to take the joker as identified on the left-hand side of screen. So we watch Garrett Lowe, who's had a fairly chaotic few weeks, try and bring that Lone Bro Motorsports Fiesta home to a transfer position. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Toivonen and Hearth if all things keep stagnant.
Well, we see how close these 2 are. I mean, Fox is not giving this one up, is he? He's putting all the pressure on Toivonen at the front here. Fox wants to get ahead of Rasmus, but they've got to be careful not to slow each other down too much by overly defending or attacking, because the joker lap is just so vital and so crucial to a win. And oh, look at that slide job down the inside, not quite making it work this time.
Fox is really eager to make his way past. Toivonen just has no speed at this phase of the race. This could promote Ilari Lamansivu to a transfer position. Your winner from round 1. Fox wants him to get a move on. Fox is definitely being held up here.
Lowe's gone to the joker. So Lowe's taken a joker this time.
And he appears behind these 2. So Lowe is out of contention, I would say, as well, considering Hearth and Lamansivu are yet to take it. He's right on the bubble, Paul, is Lamansivu. 11.7 seconds now. Remember, 11.3 is what he needs.
Here we go then. Final opportunity to take the joker, and that is exactly what Johan Hart is doing right now, and he runs to the head of your field.
And where is Lamansivu going to pop up? So there's Hart. Now when the back is shot, I see Toivonen ahead of Fox and Lamansivu in 4th. He couldn't make up the few tenths he needed. That means Hart is going to have pole position for your feature race, and he's finally joined by Rasmus Toivonen, who makes his first feature race appearance of the season. Results up on screen. Fox just misses out. Couldn't make a move on Toivonen and tried to keep it clean. Lamansivu behind 2 will head to your Marwin Sports LCQs along with the Burton Kligerman Esports cars. And Garrett Lowe. Here's the grid. Championship leader John Robertson. You'll identify him by the red banner throughout today on both his windshield and in the timing screen. He'll start alongside Bobby Zelensky for Subaru Motorsports USA. The 2 brothers racing rooms apart start right behind each other. And then you've got a couple of Nitro Circus cars. And starting down the back end of the order is Garrett Maines, as we spoke about, who has served his qualifying ban today and will have to make his way up through the field. So Maines joins the grid. The brothers here, this could get sketchy between the 2. 2.5 years apart and 2 grid spots apart. Let's see how they fare. We go green for the second heat. Robertson's got a run on his brother and backs out. Keeps it respectful. Can he make the move on Zelensky, though? He can't. He has to form up behind the American. So it's John Robb from Zelensky from Jake Robb.
That's great to see Bobby Zielinski there up in second place, putting the pressure on already. Some taking to the Joker, so 3 drivers to the Joker. That's Jake Robertson, Daniel Matrani and Garrett Maines, all to the Joker.
Good decisions to go for the Joker. Maines is very aggressive, we know that. And he can certainly make up some positions here. So the driver's got to be careful of him, because he'll be looking to find his way up the inside of these guys. So the Nitro Circus car of Matrani in second. Robertson, as you spoke about, poor leads. It's all about Robertson and Zielinski here. I don't think Zielinski has the pace to keep up with Robertson. 10th by 10th, the Team Yokohama drivers creeping away.
There's enough for one Sindre Silva to the Joker this time. So they have sorted themselves out to Silva behind Maines here in 4th for the time being. But as we mentioned, 3 drivers yet to take a Joker. But look at that, Maines all over the rear there of Matrani.
Matrani destroyed his Yokohama tyres. As robust as they are, that lockup went for about a full 50 meters into the apex. No tyres surviving that one. And let's see if Matrani can keep it together for the rest of this event. He's not only holding up Maines, but his teammate Sindre Silva. I think everybody else behind will save this Joker for the final lap. And how about that shot through the slowest corner of the season?
Look at that, Maines down the inside, making that one count. Oh, into the wall there, into the tyre stack at the end of the wall. But carry on going. And Matrani getting all sorts of loose into the back of Maines. Down the inside, more rubbing as they head on through turn 1.
The battle continues. This is just going to help. This squabble is going to help your leaders of Robertson and Zielinski. They're effective leaders because they're yet to take the Joker. We think Jake Robertson will be dropped to 3rd, and another scrap going on. Maines now with a bit of contact with Sindre Silva. Your Nitro Circus cars. It looks like the star car, doesn't it? There's certainly stars today, but it's not going to help in terms of transfer position. Final lap of the race begins.
Yeah, they're not helping each other, that's for sure. Oh, Maines with the slide jump down the inside, trying to bully his way past there. Oh, side by side, and Silva through.
Brilliant move there.
Here come
by
the Jokers.
Garrett Maines. Here are the Jokers by Robertson and Zielinski, and they have it. That's not even close. Robertson easily wins this heat. Zielinski in second. And what a scrap we had behind. Adria Perez now is behind Jake Robertson. Almost pipped Jake for 3rd position. But everybody else squabbling behind cost themselves vital positions. Maines, though, edges ahead of the Nitro Circus cars. That was an entertaining heat, Paul. And I wish we see that for these next 2.
Forget just the next 2 heats. Let's have this all the way through. But yeah, Robertson, Zielinski through with Jake Robertson, Perez, Maines, Silva, Matrani all going through to the LCQs and the last chance qualifiers. Grid up on your screen. Mitchell de Jong, pole position ahead of Tommy Holman with Salas and Bo Albert. Paye and Krogstad in 6th place here. And well, this is certainly going to be an interesting 3rd heat, even, if I could get the words out. But these drivers, they'll be desperate. They've seen what works now. This is the best thing about these heats. You can watch what the other drivers do and see what works and what doesn't work.
Mitchell de Jong, this is the first time at Iowa he hasn't taken pole position, but he'll still start from 1st for Heat 3. Lights on. We go green for heat number 3. De Jong covers the inside. Vicente Salas is blocked. Punted out of the way is the American De Jong. And Salas in the Andretti Autosport machine of 1st. Utter carnage as one of the set cars of Tommy Horman. His day is done. I think the engine's blown on that Subaru.
We've still got battling for the lead, and they've not taken to the Joker here. So Albert and Salas, Bo Albert's the only one to take a Joker. Salas and de Jong then battling it out effectively for the lead of this race, but high drama out of that last corner before the jump.
It's a very tight hairpin. De Jong will not be pleased, but we know he's a very mature young man, is De Jong. So he's going to keep his cool, certainly, but I wouldn't be surprised if he returns serves here on Salas. He's trying to make a clear move. And Salas doesn't concede. The VW driver in the Oberto VW is now finally, I was going to say passed by De Jong, but the battle continues to the hairpin. De Jong, that would be a stellar move around the outside, but there's no grip there. And the squabble's going to continue to turn 7 and 8.
They need to be careful here. They need to be careful not to slow each other down and allow Bo Albert to get enough of a gap. That gap is increasing at the front, by the way, for Bo Albert. He's getting close to being in for an automatic transfer to the feature.
That was almost an entire lap side by side, and finally De Jong takes to the Joker and takes the lead. There's some smoke on screen now. I think that's from Tommy Horman, who I discussed, who you'll see...
He's pulled over.
He's pulled over, so he's not on camera. But yeah, Tommy Horman's just pulled over the racetrack. He's going to retire from the race, and you'll head to your features, to your LCQs. But here's Bo Albert now. Will he pip his teammate of Vicente Salas? Bo Albert's in the question here for a transfer position.
I think Mitchell de Jong just played a masterstroke there. He realised that himself and Salas were slowing each other down and took to the Joker at the right opportunity just to stop himself being overtaken by a Bo Albert, whereas Salas, he's leaving that to the final lap here. So this is all going to be a little bit spicy towards the end of this race.
10.1 seconds the gap between Vicente Salas and the Oberto VW to the Gamebridge VW of Bo Albert. To the two Andretti Autosport cars here. We saw this happen last week. They could pip each other for a transfer position. As the final lap begins, here's Salas to the Joker. Will he get the move on the Australian? He does! Salas appears ahead of Albert. Bo Albert's going to be left behind. De Jong is going to win the heat and start from third for your final feature race of the day. Salas follows. We talked about Bo Albert coming home in third. Brilliant result, though, for Bo Albert. He'll have good grid position. Henrik Krogstad, the RX2 champion for 2020, comes home ahead of Jonathan Payet. And then Tommy Horman, whose car was done and dusted. I spoke about that at the end of that, or at the start of that heat. Here's the Heat 4 grid up on screen. So some notable names here. Joni Ollikainen, our current points leader for rookies, could win the Dirtfish Rookie of the Year award. See if he can get it done. Only 6 cars in this heat. Killian Del Olmo and Cabot Bigham start down the order. And it's all about the bottlenecks, isn't it, Paul, here at the start, as we wait for Ollikainen and Taskinen to join the grid. But Ollikainen is really a sitting duck from pole.
Yeah, and that's why you've seen that pole sitter just immediately pull over to the right-hand side, block off any move from third place on the grid, because that third place car is actually closer to the wall, as you'll see very shortly, as we're getting ready for the start of this one.
Taskinen has had no luck this season. Will today be his day from Iowa? Final heat for round number 4. Drag race to turn 1. Very clean this time round. Taskinen. Oh, there seemed to be a bit of contact there because... Oh, no! Ollikainen's on his roof. Joni Ollikainen is on his roof. And another Set Esports car has found potentially a DNF for Ollikainen. Horman had no luck and the engine was blown.
He's still going. Ollikainen is still going, but he's down the order. That's incredible. He was on his roof just a moment ago, but he managed to roll it and get it back onto its wheels, so that's crucial for him. But Taskinen and Bigham, Cabot Bigham starting from the back row of the grid up there at the front, but of course those two have taken that Joker.
Now, I'm still trying to figure out how Ollikainen is still going, because that car, I wasn't wrong, was I, Paul? That car was turning upside down?
He rolled. Yeah,
okay.
But he managed to land on his wheels, so he kept going.
Wow. Well, there you go. Like a barrel roll. Just play it like it's a football game. Carry on like it's nothing. But you talked about Bigham, wildcard entry. Looking good, but remember, everybody else behind's yet to take the Joker. But Bigham's got the gap on Parisi in third.
Yeah, he's about, well, you say he's got the gap there. It's going to be tight, isn't it, on the Joker here? But it is that Bigham Parisi battle that will be the one that decides who goes through to the feature. But yes, Parisi doing a good job. But yeah, as you see the Williams car on screen through the left-hander and then the right at the end. But we'll have a look then at what happened to him. And well, he just fell off the side of the jump there, and he looks into it. The barrier there, the guardrail, pushed him back onto his wheels. So yeah, that is absolutely lucky for Ollikainen, but he's found himself in 4th place at the moment, and he's taken to the Joker lap this time. So this will be interesting to see where he comes out.
Well, there you go for Ollikainen. Flipped on his roof and continued as if nothing happened. He's in 2nd and in a transfer position, but he doesn't have track position on Connor Parisi. Bigham has been demoted out of your transfer spots. Killian Del Olmo is behind Bigham, so it's up to Connor Parisi here in the US Air Force Subaru. The Ed Carpenter Racing driver is looking for a spot in the feature, something he also missed in 2019. Will he find himself in yet another feature in his career? To the Joker goes Parisi, and he edges ahead of Ollikainen by only a matter of inches on the final lap of Heat 4.
Still a couple of corners, anything could happen here, but it's Taskinen who takes the win, and Parisi across the line in 2nd.
Finally some luck for Williams Esports and Otto Taskinen. He seemed to be a pinball game every week for the Finn, who is a race winner, don't forget, in Rallycross 2. Here are the results on screen. So Otto Taskinen wins, and he will head through to your feature along with Parisi. Everybody else to your LCQs, which are coming up. Already time to look at your grid for your first of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. Josh Fox on pole alongside Bo Albert. 2 very quick races there. But Alari Lamansivu, look out for him behind. Garrett Lowe, who won here after competing in an LCQ, is the only driver in history to win a feature race from an LCQ. He did it at this track, as I said. Will he do it again today? And the rest of the grid on screen includes your 2 Burton Kligerman Esports cars and Tommy Horman, who's a championship contender. But only one of these drivers will make it through to your feature race. Well, what do we think at home? Is this going to bottleneck or is this going to be clean? Marwin Sports LCQ number 1 coming up. Good start from Fox. Got to defend, though, that 3rd position. Bo Albert's collected by that looked like Lamansivu, and everybody else continues. So it's Fox, I definitely know, in the 1st position. Couple of your Chad Reed 22 Motorsports cars. Matamoros down the order 2. Lamansivu to the Joker, and he is the leading driver to the shortcut.
It was Krogstad who got into Bo Albert, then number 11, as Albert still battling away with Garrett Lowe now, as diving to the inside there, Matamoros as well. So hard action, hard battling down, further down in your field, but we have had a few take to the Joker on this opening lap.
Certainly have. So that's on the left-hand side of the screen. Lamansivu, Jonathan Payet, Alexi Heikkinen. Fox, though, has got the advantage, I think, on Alari Lamansivu. Got 9.5 seconds to the leader. So the American, as we... Oh, look at this now. Tommy Horman's ahead of Lamansivu. Oh, don't tell me these two are going to squabble. That's going to give Josh Fox an easy victory. And they're still alongside each other into turn 1.
Look at how clean that is, though. There's great action, inches between them, and yet kept it nice and clean. Good driving, good respect between the 2 of them there, but we're at the halfway point of this race, and still Fox, Krogstad, Albert, Lowe, Matamoros all yet to take the Joker lap. In fact, Krogstad decides to take that right now.
Oh, that's silly. So this is game over for all these guys. Oh, and Krogstad collects Tommy Horman. That will be fair, though. I don't think there'll be a penalty coming. Physical racing in Rallycross, you're allowed to do that. It doesn't have to be entirely clean, as long as it's respectful. As Horman now... And have a look at that. Look at the suspension doing all the work on the Subarus as they head over the anti-cut strips. But I think it's stupid, Paul, because Josh Fox now has got an easy win to his name. And he's only a few seconds away from this bunch, and he's still yet to take the Joker.
Garrett Lowe now is deciding to inject himself into this battle as well. So 4 cars all wanting one spot, but Josh, Lauren Sivu is around. So he's been collected in all of that. And this is just going to make life even easier now for Josh Fox.
Your round 1 winner, Olari Lamansivu, has yet to make a feature race since. And here's what happened. Contact with Henrik Krogstad, and everybody else behind had nowhere to go. So the feature will end as Josh Fox took to the Joker off camera. Here he is. And look at the gap he's got on Tommy Horman. That's very impressive by Tommy Horman. And a nice little end to the race here between these two. Bo Albert, Garrett Lowe. Not going to be a dream transfer position for Garrett Lowe this year after his famous 2018 win in the final lap. Josh Fox will advance. He'll start from the back for your Marwin Sports LCQs. Big names out. Bo Albert's made 2 features this year, and he's missed out on 2. That's confirmed today in the Andretti Autosport VW. Hanson Williams Esports Krogstad down the order. He was everywhere today. And we'll look at your grid for the second of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. Jake Robertson's got some strong pace, but Joni Ollikainen, he's going to challenge him from the second row. Ollikainen's going to start from the outside. That's not going to benefit him at all. Your 2 Dreyer and Reinbold VWs will start right behind them. Cabot Bigham is somewhere that he's a bit unfamiliar with in the virtual world. Missed round 2, don't forget, at Daytona. Supposed to race on the motion sim, but he had some technical issues which left him out. The Nitro Circus cars will start with Tommy Mäkinen down the back of the pack. Here we go. Final Marwin Sports LCQ of the day. Robertson rockets off the line, but what a start from your Spaniard of Adria Perez. Almost squeezed up the inside. Cabot Bigham's had a good jump. Garrett Maines tries to find his way past. I think Maines has to skip the jump. Oh, and contact for Robertson.
Huge drama of Robertson. There's also Perez and Bigham are off track as well. But Jake Robertson, the pole sitter for this race, huge moment. Lost control into the K-rail, and that is his day done.
I'd love to see if that was a bit of an experience or whether there was contact for Jake Robertson, the youngest driver in the field, that gifts Joni Ollikainen, we think, first position. I'm trying to make out where everybody is. We know we've had some timing issues today. So what's happened to Robertson? That's tough to see, Paul. I didn't see the initial phase of that.
He landed off the side of the jump there, and that sent him straight into... I don't think there was. I think it was just a case of he got it all wrong over the jump, landed on the side of it, and that put him straight into that finish gantry. But the rest of them now, they're still battling up over the jump. And well, they need to decide how they're going to do this, because Delomo, Maines and Mäkinen are all battling it out. Sindre Silva is the top of your drive. Oh no, he's actually in 4th place. Ollikainen is in that prime position to take the transfer, but Maines up to the head of the field in the VW.
This is deja vu from the last LCQ, because Ollikainen is in Josh Fox's position and should win the heat, or should win the Marwin Sports LCQ. I spoke about Garrett Maines being a hungry competitor, and he's proven his worth here, overtaken a few drivers, been very physical, and he's currently in 1st, but we think Ollikainen, the Finn, will start from the back here. We saw this happen to Sami Matti Trogan last year, and Ollikainen's taken to the Joker, so Joni Ollikainen, will he appear ahead of this bunch? And yeah, he is. Look at that on camera. That's not even close, Paul. It feels like he's at a different racetrack.
Well, and that's a smart move, because if you go from clean air to clean air, that's absolutely perfect. You're not getting held up by anybody. That allows you to take the lead there. Everybody else racing for a bit of bragging rights and a bit of points here, but definitely Daniel Matrani there. You look at his results so far, not the greatest, but in this LCQ in 3rd place.
Yeah, so DNS basically means he hasn't made the feature race, so he hasn't started a final, as we are on the final lap of your Marwin Sports LCQ. Joni Ollikainen advances. It's only the top driver who will advance. Lovely scrap here as Killian Dalomo Oh, I think I saw a nitrous car collect El
Yeah.
Olmo 2 of Sindre Silva, but it doesn't matter anyway. Olli Kainen continues and will advance to your feature. And another fun one for sure. And it was all about the start, wasn't it, Paul? Jake Robertson, the young 15-year-old, will be lamenting that.
Yeah, he'll be heartbroken by that one. He had a great opportunity to get himself through to the feature race, and just one little mistake, getting it wrong up over the ramp of the jump, and that is it. That is his day done for this evening.
The feature race is coming up. Dare I say it's going to be entertaining? It probably will. We'll catch you on the other side of this. Back here from Iowa Speedway as the feature race is looming for 10 of your best rallycross races in the sim racing world here on iRacing. From Jonathan Simon to Paul Smith, welcome back to what is going to be an important feature race for your championship. Johan Harth, Paul, will look to take his third feature race win of his career, but can he do it? Because he's got the championship leader behind and the champion from 2018 and Mitchell de Jong ready to pounce.
Yeah, this is quite the field here for this final. Never write out those that had to come through the LCQ as well. We've seen how dramatic the starts have been of this race, and how one little mistake could cost you not just a position but your entire race. So don't write off people like Josh Fox and Joni Ollikainen as well from coming up through, but you have to say Hart, Robertson, de Jong, Taskinen, what a front four that is. And then you've got Timon and Zelensky. It's an incredible field, and this one I definitely think is going to be a very intriguing feature race.
And look at the left-hand side of the screen. Something we'll have for you all season are your live championship points update. So the 86 of John Robertson will extend his lead over Olli Kainen, but it all depends on this feature, which pays the most points. But this is from what they've collected from qualifying in the heats. Now, a hat-trick, Paul, in Rallycross is when you score pole position, heat win, and feature win. Joni Ollikainen has done that in round 2. John Robertson did that for round 3. Now, Johan Harth has an opportunity to do it today in round number 4, and he's done that once before, and that was last year at Sonoma.
Yeah, he's a tremendous driver. He's had a little bit of bad luck at times, but Johan here just seems to suit his style, suit his how they've got that car set up, and he will be feeling extremely confident coming into this feature, starting from pole position. But as we've been seeing all the way through the evening, he's got to defend that inside line into 1, and also hopefully do not get any help from behind into turn 1.
That's been the story of the day. It's really been the story of Iowa, as the drivers are currently in a warm-up session. That's why you're seeing them lap around here, getting their last few laps in before they compete in the feature. This is always important for a driver, isn't it, Paul, the warm-up? Get a feel for the car in race conditions?
Yeah, absolutely, and don't forget as well, we get that refresh of the dirt section as well between the LCQ and the warm-up before the feature race, so a little bit of a change in conditions out there, so you need to get that practice whilst you can.
And even over the tarmac too, track will rubber in. iRacing's dynamic track doing its work. So if you're new to the virtual world of sim racing. This is called iRacing, and all of this is simulated as accurately as possible as the drivers prepare in warm-up. So we do a virtual track reset, just like you do in the real world, cover the dirt a little bit more, but the drivers are already wearing it out. You can see the entrance onto the jump is it's getting it, and look at the racing line there heading into turn 1 too. Certainly paying dividends for some of these drivers. There's been a lot of arguments during the week between the drivers. I've been involved in some of them, of whether or not there is a fair balance of power between the 3 cars available of the Subaru, the VW, and the Ford Fiesta. Some, or a majority, say there is. Of course, the ones in the VW and the Fiesta say there isn't, but that's an argument for another day. It's time to look at your grid for the final feature race of the day. And all Team Yokohama front row yet again. This team looks to be unstoppable at this stage of the season. The Apex Racing Team drivers that they represent in the sim racing world of Johan Hart and John Robertson will start first and second. Robertson on the outside will be followed by Mitchell de Jong, who will challenge Hart and potentially challenge Robertson into turn 1. He's won here a few times as Mitchell de Jong. Look to do it again. Otto Taskinen starts on the outside. He won here, he won round 4 in 2019, but it was at Lucas Oil. Rasmus Toivonen in his first feature for the season. Brilliant grid position for him. Bobby Zelensky, this season he's had no luck to his side. He's been involved in a lot of accidents. Today is the day to change that. Will he finish in the top 10 in the standings? I'm pretty sure that's a certain, but you never know with all the incidents and some of the bad luck that have occurred. Andretti Autosport have seen another driver in the feature, Vicente Salas. Last time he was in the feature was Daytona. Connor Parisi, he'll be loving a return to the feature, along with Josh Fox and Joni Ollikainen. That is a fast back row. So, Paul, I spoke about it. The run to the first hairpin here is 115 meters. The drivers start in the pit lane of this 7/8 mile oval. They go up reverse. But the feature race is where all the nerves come in. I'm getting nervous in the commentary booth.
These drivers, though, they're well practiced. They know what it's like, and they'll be going full guns blazing into this turn 1. Hopefully we keep it clean as these drivers find themselves on the grid.
10 laps of action. 1 joker available for the drivers. We've got the feature race coming up. And from Iowa Speedway, we go green for the final time. Look at Hearth already defend from de Jong. He had an awful jump. De Jong's been punted. John Robertson's going nowhere too. Robertson's fallen down the order. Hearth has got a clean advantage here over, it looks like, Rasmus Toivonen. I see one of the Andretti Autosport VWs off the racetrack. Salas down to last. At the top, though, Hearth and Toivonen remain unscathed. Taskinen to the joker along with de Jong.
Yeah, drivers taken to the joker straight away, wanting that clean air. Those that were in that sort of mid-pack area. But de Jong, he's trying to now take advantage of it. He's trying to pull away and try and get a gap over Johan Hart, who's just getting to the finish line right now. So that tells you the advantage that cut through, that joker lap gives you around here.
This is important for Mitchell de Jong. He's got 2 race wins in a row here at Iowa, and he needs to make it 3. Yet to win in 2020. And he's currently a 10th up on Hearth, but Hearth has the joker delta gap. 9.7 seconds to Mitchell de Jong in the lead. Hearth, you would think, would defend it. He should take to the joker, I reckon, next lap round. He's got to.
Yeah, you don't want to give Mitchell too much of an advantage, especially making landings like that off of the jump. Not ideal. Take yourself to the joker, cut it out. No, he's deciding to carry on. He feels that he's got the pace there, does Johan, and showing that he's confident in his abilities. He'll be having a teammate helping him out, spotting for him, letting him know where the traffic is, what the gap is, so he knows exactly the right moment to take that joker.
And you know what? Toivonen has the gap on Mitchell de Jong. So if it remains as it is right now, de Jong will potentially finish in third, but he's improving his time. Hearth is losing 10th by 10th to Mitchell de Jong, and Hearth takes to the Joker. He recognizes this. Can he defend the lead from de Jong? Hearth swipes the wall, and I hope that Team Yokohama Subaru remains unscathed, and that is not a sight Mitchell de Jong would want to see.
He had to do it at that point because Mitchell was pulling that advantage over Johan, and he had to get it out there and stop Mitchell from gaining more time. But this just means now that we have got a battle on at the front of your field. But you mentioned it there, Jonathan. Rasmus Toivonen, he don't write him out of this one.
And you know what? I think Toimonen's going to take the Joker. I think he continues. Yeah, Toivonen continues. I don't see anyone through the Joker. Here is the Set Esports Team GRX Subaru. They're in a partnership set promotion with Gronholm RX. Here's a Set Esports car of Joni Ollikainen looking for a podium position on Taskinen. Will it be a podium, or will Toivonen find his way into the top three? We'll wait and see. Ollikainen, remember, started this race from last.
I said don't write him out, didn't I? I said don't write him out of this one. He is a quick driver, and he is showing exactly why he deserves to be in this feature race, and he's putting the pressure on that Williams Esports car of Taskinen right now. At the bottom of the screen, you got the battle for the lead. Top of the screen, battle for third at the moment.
This is very promising from de Jong. Oh, is he going to make a pass for the win here? There's plenty of laps remaining. I thought Hearth had it done, but de Jong has got some stellar pace out of nowhere. It almost reminds you, I watched Formula One qualifying today, and Lewis Hamilton just pops up out of nowhere with great pace, and de Jong seems to be doing the same. Can Johan Hearth, the Frenchman, hold off de Jong?
Toivonen into the Joker, and he's coming out in third.
So Toivonen into the podium positions. Good spot there, Paul. Toivonen needed to do that. Taskinen and Ollikainen are still squabbling for fourth now. Vital points. But it's all about your race win. Hearth is under pressure. He's got to block the apex here.
Now, does Johan try and bring Toivonen into this battle to give Mitchell de Jong a bit of a headache, because it's easier to attack if you've got nobody behind you? But now that Toivonen's there, if you're Johan Hearth, do you just hold that apex, slow Mitchell down, and bring Toivonen into that action right now?
Your championship leader, John Robertson's in a bit of trouble, but we think he's going to come out in fifth once he takes his Joker. Zelensky's in fourth. Zelensky's taken the Joker now too, so Taskinen and Ollikainen, after all the battling, are losing pace as this race progresses. But de Jong, he just can't find his way past, can he, Paul? We know he's quicker, but there's the track position here at Iowa. It's one of the most difficult tracks to overtake on.
Here he is, all over the back of Hearth, but Hearth is doing exactly what he needs to do right now as John Robertson takes to the Joker, and he's going to come out ahead of Bobby Zelensky in fourth place. So crucial for John to get out ahead of Bobby Zelensky. But we're heading on to the final lap, and this is the last opportunity for Mitchell de Jong to try and take the lead.
Johan Hearth searching for a third career win. Mitchell de Jong searching for an 11th. Only a few more corners to go between these two. Couple of opportunities left for the American. Oh, and Hearth hits the wall. He definitely made contact with the wall. De Jong backed out of it, and we ride on board with the American. Going for the outside, and the victory is Mitchell de Jong in the Subaru Motorsports USA car. He can't get it done. Victory for round 4 from Iowa for Team Yokohama's Johan Hearth. What an action-packed final lap.
I thought Mitchell could hold that inside line through the final corner, but Johan was having none of it and shut the door. He slammed it in his face. And what a finish to that feature race. What a great race that was. What a great day's racing we've had here, Jonathan.
And with Joker as well on the final lap, John Robertson to fourth. Your championship leader claims some vital points. There are the results on screen. Rasmus Toivonen, how about that, in his first feature race of his career, ends up with a podium for Set Team GRX. And look at everybody else behind. Ollikainen finally made his way ahead of Taskinen. It took him all race. Parisi will be happy with a feature appearance regardless of finishing 8th. For Salas, there were issues. We'll find out what happened to Salas later on, but we heard behind the scenes that there were problems for him, and that's why he came home in 9th. For Fox in 10th. Another feature race appearance for Fox, but not much to show for it. He is a former winner here in Rallycross too, but it was those two at the top. That, Paul, gives me a promising view of what to expect for the rest of the season. Mitchell de Jong is going nowhere. Some people were calling him off, saying he wasn't the same as he used to be, but I say he's still got that championship speed right in him, and maybe next week we'll see him win his first race of the season.
You never know. You do not write off a former champion, that is for sure, any time. We're going to have a look at what happened then to Vicente Salas then, and it was on the jump from what we gather, so hopefully we'll get that replay up on screen. So here we go then, and Vicente Salas, so this is coming into the final 2 corners. You see how that VW taking a different line to the 2 in front. He's trying to make moves on those drivers, and he comes out that final corner, up over the jump, and it's just a landing into the barrier. He gets collected as well. Keeps it going there. That was Parisi, wasn't it, that collected him there? And yeah, but able to finish the race, though, crucially, in 9th place. Yeah, that was the US Air Force Subaru of Parisi. And that banking as well on the oval has 12 to 14 degrees of bank in it. You can see the cars, they launch off of there. Gives them a great launch into the final couple of corners. What an absolute finish. That was a classic. We're going to speak to your top 3 after this. Don't leave us. Post-race interviews coming up.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
What a classic. Another one from Iowa. If you remember back to 2018, Garrett Lowe on the final lap took a thrilling victory here. We saw Mitchell de Jong and Joni Heikkinen explode in a great battle on the final laps. A lot of contact between the two, and Garrett Lowe came out of nowhere for his only victory so far in his career. And we're going to speak to now your race winner from today, round number 4 from Iowa. Johan Harth, we got you over there?
Yep, landing here.
Man, I'm always happy for you. You know that, my friend. It was your 3rd career win for you. That was not easy. That was a tough one with Mitchell. He had some strong pace.
Yeah, that was the hardest one yet. Only 3, but I'll remember that one for a long time.
Talk about the Joker Delta, because Paul and I were discussing in the commentary booth saying, you got to go for it. You got to defend de Jong in the track position. Were your spotters helping you out there saying, hey, you got to take the Joker now? Because obviously you'd want to take that on the final lap.
I was asking our spotter George the gap every single lap. I was asking him to tell me the gap down the back straight every single lap, and that one lap he told me that's going to be pretty close, so I went for it immediately.
And another race win to your name. It was a hat trick, don't forget, your 2nd hat trick of your career. We're watching your burnouts on screen. As hard as that was, as hard as it was, Johan, you look like you enjoyed it, man. Harder is a good challenge too.
It's always good when you've got somebody as good as Mitchell fighting with you. He's always a super tough racer, but super clean as well. So yeah, really happy with that one.
And remember, during the week as well, we were discussing your testing with M Sport. Talk about that a little bit, because M Sport helped you out with just getting you more comfortable in this car. Did they help you in terms of pace, though?
In terms of pace, I wouldn't say the opposite, but yeah, the engineer that had to look at telemetry with us helped us to figure out a few things. Not gonna tell you what, but yeah, we found a bit of comfort in the car. It was really easy to drive today.
Yeah, awesome. So Johan, we're going to leave you to a congratulations once again, man. That's an awesome victory. Paul, I just spoke to Johan about how both he and John Robertson and some of the Apex Racing team drivers, they worked out with M Sport, who was an official Ford World Rally team.
Yeah.
In obviously World Rally Championship, as you know, and they didn't gain much lap time, they said, from the engineers they worked with, but they certainly felt more comfortable in the car, and you'd need that after all the pressure from De Jong today.
Yeah, being able to work with an organisation such as M Sport, the level of professionalism that they have is certainly a real beneficiary. And yeah, you may not necessarily get that lap time, as they said, but they certainly did find themselves some comfort in the car and some consistency, which is crucial here in this championship. And well, speaking of somebody who was consistent, third place, Rasmus Toivonen. Congratulations on the podium position here. You had it tough out there. Started in fifth place. Just talk us through that, because it was a really, really exciting race for yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and our broadcast team. It was a pretty hectic race, I must say. And first, I don't know what happened in the first corner. I just saw Otto and Mitchell maybe touch or something. I backed off a bit so I could get the inside from Vicente, but yeah, got really lucky there at turn 1. And then got a second place, and then I just told to my spotter Tommy Hallman, that we are going to end of the race. But then I saw Josh Fox slowing down, and I had to take the Joker. But I'm really happy with the third place, and yeah, just so much thanks to the team and for the boys who we are made to set up with so good now, and can't be much happier now, because I've had pretty bad luck in few rounds, and the chance to go into final was so close all the time, but still so far.
Well, this is it, your first feature race of the season. But just talk to us quickly. How important around this track was it to get yourself some clear air and to be able to keep your pace that you know that you can do?
Actually, I didn't get that much as a free space, but there was just, or if you are behind a fast driver and you know he's fast, it's still you can follow him really nicely, and I followed Johan all through before he went to the Joker, and I think that was the main key to. I was so nervous in the start, so I calmed my nerves when going behind him, and I knew all the time that I can keep the pace, and I just, yeah, it was a really good run still, but I don't see that the clear is so important here. I see many more tracks being more important, like Sonoma or something like that, to see the line perfectly and where you're going. That this is maybe not the worst track for me to be in behind of someone, but maybe some other drivers disagree with me. But this is just how I see the things.
Rasmus, it's Jonathan here. I do want to ask about, for those who watched you in the European Rallycross Championship last week, you were very fast, you fared very well, but how's your shoulder feeling after you rolled the car? That was a big accident.
Yeah, I had a pretty bad roll in the European Championship, but still working on it, and I went to the doctors, and they said that everything's fine, that it's just scratched a bit. So yeah, it's now pretty good, but got a little pains in when going normal lap where the Joker is the side left-hander. Sometimes get a bit of a hurt feeling there in my elbow, so had to be a little cautious there and not drive safely home. But yeah, that's sometimes what racing drivers have to do.
Yeah, exactly. You're a tough one, man. And I tell you what, to endure 3 non-feature appearances and then get a podium in your first career appearance, it's certainly enjoyable. Congratulations again, man. That's we hope to see you in more of these features too. You had some brilliant pace. That was Rasmus Toivonen for SED Esports Team GRX. Brilliant performance for Rasmus Toivonen, we spoke about, who almost won this race despite never making a feature. Someone who has won 10 of these things is Mitchell de Jong. And today, Mitchell, you had the pace, but not track position. Is that what you felt as well?
I do. All in all, this is a pretty positive race. Kind of missed it a little bit in qualifying. Still had some good laps, but I think we're just still missing just a slight edge to both the Apex guys. They put in some incredible laps, and still pretty happy to start third, surviving that heat, which was just absolute madness. And as well, the final was also pretty crazy too. It was just a very stressful one, trying to make the most of every situation. I was really hoping that I would be able to stay ahead of Johan before he jokered, but I think we were a little bit too far back. But no, stoked with the pace that we were able to catch back up to Johan and kind of give him a run there. I think we had a few times where we could have maybe pushed the issue and kind of forced a move and maybe gone for the win that way, but just tried to keep it clean and not cause any drama. So P2, I'm pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, I know you'd be happy. And one thing, Mitchell, I've known you for what, just over 5 years now. And we seem to every year discuss schedule with you and part-time, full-time schedule. And normally you haven't been able to compete full-time due to, let's say, your Red Bull GIC commitments back in the day or some other racing commitments. Now this year, I want to know, is this going to be a full-time schedule for you in Rallycross? And is it going to be a full commitment from you? Because we know you've got a lot of other events coming up in the next few weeks.
It will be a full schedule for me, which I'm very excited about. Commitment-wise, of course, I'm always going to give it my best with the way things are scheduled with, the upcoming Pro Series for NASCAR coming up, as well as some other events that are going to be happening soon. Obviously, time is a little bit split between those, but, we're kind of used to that. We're going to make the most of it for sure. I think this year is extremely competitive with everyone being on top of their game. So yeah. I just need to kind of rise to that next level and, try to not so much get back in form because I feel like I'm better than I was last year, but just take that next step, figure out the setup and be ready to go for the next rounds. We want to finally win another championship. Last year was a little bit bitter, even though we had a really good championship, missing 2 races. But we want to get it done this time, so we'll see.
Yeah, the competition's ramped up because remember when Rallycross first came out on the iRacing service, I can't remember the unofficial number, but you'd won almost 50 events in a row or something along those lines, right? Including official series events. Now we see year after year, it's becoming much more competitive. So I guess for you, it's not going to come as easy as, not that the others, not to say the others came easy, but you know what I mean? It's going to be a bit more difficult this year for you. And then you're going to have to find something extra for sure. But as I said, today you had the pace, at least the race pace. It's just about quali.
Yeah, absolutely. Stoked about that. I feel like in practice this week, I made some breakthroughs of how I need to set it up for different parts of the track, which didn't really have to think about too much last year and the year before. So, we'll slowly put all the pieces of the puzzle together. We're getting there for sure. So excited to be fighting back for wins again.
Yeah, awesome. All right, we'll leave you to it, Mitchell. Congratulations again. Hopefully you win one of these. I think this is the longest you've gone without a win in IREX, which sounds surprising, but maybe next week at Hell Lunkenbahn and you'll get the job done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Paul Smith, my man, we have got live points and we can see our championship now heading into round number 5. Here it is. John Robertson and Team Yokohama are dominating. They not only lead the driver standings, they lead the team standings too.
Yeah, absolutely. Those two drivers complementing each other absolutely to a T. So definitely some good competition at the front of the field. I thought John Robertson did well not to fall back even more because, after that Turn 1 incident at the start of the race, I thought he was going to fall back to the back, but finishing 4th place caused minimum damage to his championship lead. But Johan Hart, there you go. Another race winner here in this season of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. And I want to give a special mention as well, Joni Ollikainen, because he did such a good job, started at the back of the field and finished in 6th place in that feature race.
Yeah, good stuff. So for Joni Ollikainen, who's still 4th in the championship, but a race advantage Robertson has on your 5th place position in the championship of Tommy Horman. So brilliant stuff for for Robertson this season. We know the most points you can claim in a round is 29. So he's almost got that advantage on Ollie Kynan too. And Robertson today didn't even have the best of days. The start wasn't that good. We can look at the next page of this too. There's some more drivers down the order. So Tommy Mackin has actually fallen outside the top 10. Matt Booser and Bobby Sant Jr. we know were fill-ins in this campaign. And Cabot Bigham today, despite faring actually quite well today, still finds himself down the order. He's missed a round, as did Sindre Silva and Jonathan Payet. So a lot of these guys down the order have missed rounds, and that's why you find them struggling at this point of the season. But there's still many rounds to go, and that all starts next week. We head back to Norway, Paul, and back to Hellankenbanen, one of the most exciting circuits in Rallycross. It's one of 2 circuits we visit twice on the schedule.
It's also one of the most difficult circuits to overtake at as well, so qualifying and getting yourself a good result in the heat races is going to be crucial for into that feature race as well. And of course the Joker lap there, it takes you on a longer route, so crucial when you do take that Joker.
Yeah, it certainly is. Can't wait for that one in a week's time. We had a classic there for round 1. Alari Lamansiva, the winner. Could have been Bo Albert. Could have been Mitchell de Jong. He hasn't won a race this year. Had he not made the mistake on lap 1 in the feature, he could be a feature race winner. We'll wait and see what happens in a week's time. So that event will take place same time as usual, as the 600 horsepower Mean Machines are back racing again in Norway for the 2nd time this season. It hosts round number 5 of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. Also like to thank our series partners in Dirtfish and of course Marwin Sports for today's event. Thanks to everybody else as well, the viewers, for joining us for today's broadcast. We've had hundreds of thousands across the last couple of rounds, and we hope to see more to come too. From Paul Smith alongside me, we also had Tyler Maxon in production. Of course, Chris Leone, Tyler Hudson, Drew Adamson from iRacing, and our entire production crew have done a stellar job today, yet again. And from myself, Jonathan Simon, hope you enjoyed today's action. It was a brilliant one yet again from Iowa. Our winner was Johan Harth for the first time this season, the 3rd career win for the Frenchman, the Rolling Turtle as he was known back when he drove the Ford Fiesta for Race Clutch. We're going to say so long from Iowa Speedway. Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship.